it is a danger, but it's also the way forward.
Yeah.
A global community, if you like, is what I aspire to. Whereas the sort of maggot type authoritarian community is very inward looking. But I think it comes from the same instinct, and it just gets distorted by,
Yeah.
you know, people leadership really who are just cynically manipulating that instinct to serve their political goals.
I'm an anarchist, I'm the antichrist, well sort of, not really. It's not big, it's not clever, and I'm quite a reasonable fella.
I'm Colin Burrows, and this is the Woodstein Media Podcast, Season 4, Episode 1. This podcast is produced on the lands of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, Anishinaabe, and Odawa peoples. On this episode, I spoke with Danbert Nobacon. Most people probably know of him from being in Chumbawamba, but his music career did not end when he left that band. He has continued to release fantastic albums, producing some of the smartest protest songs I've heard in recent years, hitting on themes related to the climate emergency and life under the Trump regime. Our conversation focuses heavily on the theme of community and his current music. If you want to hear more of that, check the description of the episode for a link to his Bandcamp. Danbert is also touring quite a bit, so you might be able to find him in a pub or bar or community center in your hometown. For fellow Ontarians, he'll be playing Buddies Fest in Tillsonburg on August 9th. This podcast and Woodstein Media are independently produced journalism. I've been concentrating on college and university, so output of both content on woodstein.ca and the podcast is slow, but as this episode proves, it has not stopped. You can support me through Patreon or by donating through PayPal at woodstein.ca. That's WOOD STEIN.ca. I guess I'm a poor student full-time and a writer, podcaster part-time. My main focus as far as writing is concerned has become a series of zines published by Microcosm Publishing about how music and concerts have had a positive effect on me and been inspirational in my life. So far, I've written about the positive influences of Buzzcocks, Yeasty Girls, and Fugazi. There's more to come, and I'll put a link in the description so you can find out about those. Buy one. Thanks for your interest and support. If you enjoy this podcast, you can support it by listening to more episodes, liking, sharing, subscribing, or reviewing them. This is very helpful and appreciated. I don't like to read someone's bio and say, well, this person you could see on Much Music and MTV holding a megaphone and he dumped ice water on the deputy prime minister of the UK.
Yeah.
Um, I like to have you tell the people who you are. And I live in a rural area, and some of those people listen, and they won't know who Danbert Nobacon.
Okay.
So introduce yourself, and then let people know what your purpose on this planet is, or what you
Okay.
like to think of yourself as.
Okay. Yeah. So I go by Danbert Nobacon, and I'm originally from Northern England, a smaller town north of Manchester called Burnley. And in the late 70s, that's where me and my pals were just in the right place at the right time when punk rock happened in reached the smaller towns, and we had a band for a couple of years, and that fell apart. And then it basically we formed Chumbawamba, and we moved to Leeds. And Chumbawamba has a long, long history,
Yeah, and I'm
which
sure we'll get into some of that.
yeah,
So,
yeah. And then in 2004, I was married to an American called Laura, and she lived in England for 12 years, and we had twins. But when the Chumbawamba Electric Band was done in 2004, she wanted to move to the US back. She's from Delaware, but she went to Evergreen College in Olympia, which is
okay.
produced some radical people in its time.
Is that supposed to be doing that? Okay, sorry. Okay, we're starting now. We're Bikini Kill, and we want revolution! Girls don't know!
And she knew people out here. So I live in a small mountain town called Twisp, which is 45 miles from the Canadian border as the crow flies, 4 hours northeast of Seattle. So we lived here since 2007, and I've been doing music and theatre and writing projects, as well as having a garden and other things, and learning
Okay.
about wildfire and irrigation, which
Yeah.
I guess they're having wildfires in England a little bit now, but certainly not when I lived there. But here it's like, it's actually clear today, but we've had really bad smoke. There's a huge fire 40 miles away. And in the past, we've had to evacuate, when it's been bad. I continue to make music as my prime focus, really. When I record, I try and record with a full band, but it's just more practical when I go on tour to go solo. I don't really have
Okay.
the bandwidth to organize a band on tour, and there's zero money in it for people who are, the musicians. I mean, I do pay people when we record. And the last couple of years, I've done more. I was teaching theatre at the high school, the local high school, for 9 years, but I'm no longer doing that. And I just have more time to tour. And I found a guy in Portland who can book shows for me, and I'm rubbish at booking shows. So I'm playing more than I've ever played since I've lived in America, probably like 50 something shows a year, which is, I mean, Chumbawamba, we were doing like 120 shows at the height. So yeah, so I'm about to go to the East Coast, play in Philadelphia, a 50th anniversary of the Clash,
Yeah.
when the Clash formed, which is kind of scary in a way, because I was probably one of the first albums I got was their first album as a teenager. And yeah, and then I'm going to go up into Canada and play in Tilsonburg at the Buddies Fest.
I have some themes I kind of want to touch on with
Okay.
you because, well, a strong theme that I've seen, I've been looking at old interviews, I've been listening to the new songs, and community has always been something that I've seen in Chumbawamba and in what influenced Chumbawamba. And even I was watching Dunstan's film, I Get Knocked Down Again, and
Yeah.
there's an interview in there with your parents, and
Oh yeah.
there's there's a brilliant bit where your parents, right after the John Prescott water soaking, they had press coming to the house, and there's something that they said they did that really, like, my dad would have just told the press, get the fuck out of here. I'm not.
Yeah.
But they invited them in for tea.
Yeah.
And I think that says something about maybe the community you were like prior to punk, like the way you were raised. Were you raised with a good sense of community right from the
Uh,
start?
yeah, I think so. My parents were war babies. They were children during the Second World War. And they in the old kind of traditional way where most people met their future wife or husband within a 10-mile radius. They were like 7-mile radius, so there was strong family in Burnley, the town I grew up in, but it was also, I was born in the early 60s, and TV. We didn't initially have a TV when I was born, but I think we got one when I was a little kid, and we had radio and record player. But things were changing. So we initially, my mum took us to Sunday school, church, but me and my brother just protested so much, she gave up. So whereas they grew up with a church community, and me and my brothers didn't, we were the first generation, I guess, where the church ceased to be the center of community. So they were community minded, and the neighbors. We lived in a row house, so we our first friends were the neighbors' kids, kind of thing. So there was a sense of community, but also a sense of change, and not quite the alienation that exists today, I don't think, by any means, but maybe the first steps along that route. But and then you find friends at school, and punk rock was a formative community for me in Burnley. From believing you had to be classically trained to play a guitar, suddenly punk rock comes along, learn 3 chords, and it literally changed my life, and I've been doing it ever since. And then Chumbawamba were part, in Leeds, where we were based in a bigger city to the east, where, there was a punk anarchist squatter community in Leeds that we were part of. And then the wider community of supporting various resistance movements, whether it's, striking coal miners or hunt saboteurs in the early days. And we were always kind of tied in a way that I don't know if a lot of bands are, because we were always, the first few years we more or less entirely did benefit shows for various groups. But even, when we became more famous or bigger, we still related to various struggles going on in the community that powers those struggles. So yeah, I do think it's important. And then living here in a small town, it's very community based. There's a lot of retirees from Seattle. It's 4 hours from Seattle, and it can be quite difficult to get here in winter if we get a lot of snow. So it's just far enough away. But a lot of those people, they come here looking for community, and they find it. And I mean, in some ways, it's good because there's a local newspaper, a local theatre, which wouldn't exist if some of these people didn't come and share some of the money that they've made in their lives in probably in the tech industry in Seattle. I don't know, but yeah.
Continuing on the community theme, one of, like, it gets said all over, one of the big punk influences on Chumbawamba was seeing Crass, and they had community aspect to that around Dial House.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but in some ways, I look at that and it almost seems like Chumbawamba took that and ran with it in the way that you ran the band in a democratic sort of way. That's what we're always hearing. Was it as democratic as we're always hearing? Was everything?
I think so. Yeah, I mean, from the we saw Crass play a couple of times, but we'd already started a band, and then the whole anarcho punk thing was happening in Britain, and we just tapped right into that. And we squatted a house, so we all lived in the same house. Basically, if you were in the house, you were pretty much in the band, or we could rehearse there, and we were all getting benefit, unemployment, and then going and playing shows, and we took that, and from the very the earliest thing was, oh, you can join, a music publishing society, and you'll get like 50 quid a year if you've put a record out. So we did that. So from the very start, if you were on the record, it was an equal share. And then, when we started making money after the big album, we officially became legally a collective. And, a lot of bands, I always think of Oasis, the two brothers, where Noel was the songwriter and his brother and the other two band guys got so much less money than he did. He got twice what they were getting because he's down as the sole songwriter. And it just caused horrific arguments and they split up. And then, of course, they reform, whatever. And we never had that because we just, okay, if you're on the record, if you're doing the tour, it's an equal partnership. And then we would have band meetings. So, in terms of democracy, and I think the most contentious ones were when, well, signing to a major label, we went back and forwards for months over that. And it was a case, a couple of people wanted to do it and the rest didn't. And it was a case of putting forward arguments to convince everybody that it's a good idea. So, there might be things we did where I wasn't super happy with that, but other people were. But I think I can compromise. So,
So,
in a sense, yeah, very democratic.
okay. Well, were you one of the people who was into it from the beginning, signing to the major label, or did you have to be
Uh,
convinced?
I think I was on the fence a little bit, and
Okay.
then as it, we discussed it and the potential of it. We just thought, and I think the thing which swung it was, we were like in the 80s, we were like totally hardcore, not hardcore music, but punk rock DIY, and then we had our own label, and then we were on a bigger independent label in Britain. And then, after 10 years, we wanted to do it full time as a job, touring, and we made money and a little bit of money from records. And one of the things that was driving us was, okay, we're this band and we love pop culture, the Beatles, whatever. So really, we should be trying to, tap into pop culture rather than be on the outside of it, and it was a more honest thing, really, because and we were becoming, we had a, we had a following, and we were getting into the lower reaches of the BBC charts when we put out a single. So when the opportunity came, and the major labels were in Europe and America, not Britain, because they knew our reputation for being troublemakers. So it was kind of interesting, and we just thought, we'll do this for a year, and then they'll drop us because we'll put our foot in it or burn our bridges, and that's exactly what happened. But it lasted a bit longer than a year.
Yeah.
Uh, we just
I
saw it as a chance in the end to address mainstream pop culture, and we did, and in a unique way, I think, as it turned out.
I remember as a fan being one of those punks who was like kind of what are you guys doing? Why are you
Oh yeah,
doing that? But still love the music, and I was thinking
yeah.
about it today. How it's kind of funny. It became for a little while. Listening to Chumbawamba was kind of like hiding masturbation from your parents or whatever.
Oh
You you'd listen to it over here. You wouldn't let the community know, but it was
yeah.
still
Oh,
great music.
oh,
And then
that's
after a while, it was like, I don't care. It's great music.
yeah,
It's so it's very much like masturbation that way. After a
yeah,
while, you're like, I don't care. I masturbate, and I don't
yeah,
care. I listen to Chumbawamba.
yeah.
So,
And
um,
that album was finished before we signed to a major. We wrote it.
yeah.
I mean, the next one, we were totally on a major label, and it didn't fly for
Yeah.
them commercially. Even though I think it's a great album, but
Hmm. Yeah. When I look back at it as a fan, I kind of question what. And you were making different music by that point already. Then, like.
Yeah.
The punk bands making our 7-inch singles and getting, you were doing something on a totally different level by that point already. So
Hmm.
I want to talk too a bit because the new albums really stick to it and bring it out. Chumbawamba always had the theatrical portion, but the Axis of Dissent albums that you're doing now,
Yeah.
they really sort of revel in it. And you even sing about it, like Crazy Demons Play
Oh
is a
yeah.
great song where you're talking about the need for that sort of playfulness in amongst the message.
We don't remember running round like crazy demons when we were 5 or 6 years old, without a care in the world, making up make-believe crazy batshit scenarios with our playmates, with a fire in our souls, going out on a limb, tapping into an energy that's older than history. Given half a chance, we play. William Shakespeare did it as a kid, at some point carrying on, defying forces who only ever want more obedient workers, 'cause a system of government wedded to vested interests can't imagine anything else or any other way, and least of all play. So we tap into an energy that's older than history. Given half a chance, we play. Going even further back, way back, into the paleological record, the story of evolving players and of the storytelling animal that's us. Pulling all kinds of crazy shit, finding out by doing it, and enjoying it, and sharing it, and pushing it, and loving it, and all the while laughing at the risk for its own sake, 'cause it feels good, the endorphin rush, 'cause it's nature's way of sharpening our wits by tapping into an energy that's older than history. Given half a chance, we play. Loosening the creative spark, the mother of invention, playing its elaborations we call art. Imagination and creativity, somewhere in Neurocircuit City, crazy demons wired on organic electricity, coming up with crazy ideas, stumbling upon possible solutions and testing them out, some of which just might work, and sharing the results. And if we're ever gonna save the day, we'll never ever do it without play. Play.
Could you talk a bit about how you blend that, why you blend that? Because I think it's an important aspect of what you do.
Yeah, definitely. So right before Chumbawamba went full time as a band, we all had part-time jobs, or I was in school for 2 years in Leeds studying children's play. I just stumbled into it because the unemployment were like, oh, you've got to get a job, and I don't know, I found it, but I thought I'll try this. It sounds like interesting, and I totally loved it. And had Chumbawamba not taken off, or had we not decided to pursue it full time, I might have gone into that field academically, the study of children's play. And it's mind-boggling. Play is older than history, and how do we know that? Because animals play were existed before Homo sapiens did. And doing that college course, and as you said, Chumbawamba were very theatrical, and interestingly, quite a few of us have migrated towards theatre since Chumbawamba. I taught theatre at the local high school here for 9 years. So that theatrical, I want to try and bring that to the records. So particularly the last two albums have a theatrical current running through them. And also, I read a lot of books relating, and I think this comes from the studying play, about human evolution. And we were talking about community. And, if there's been a revolution in the knowledge about our human origins in the last 50 years, which kind of parallels what I call the class war from above, where corporations got organized and basically in America took over the government and the Supreme Court, and just it's like legalized bribery. And their thing is, rugged individualism, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, whatever. But human, the story of human evolution is community. And I sometimes tell this story when I play live. So I play solo, I play songs, but I do talk a lot. And one of the songs on Mesmerica, Bringing Up Baby, which is an acronym B.B.B.B.E, Bigger Brain Babies Born Earlier. There's this thing in evolution, and they call it a literal evolutionary bottleneck. When our ancestors started walking on two legs, the pelvic canal narrows, and it's just an evolutionary trade-off of walking on two legs. And that was fine until our ancestors discovered bone marrow, and the baby's brains, the brains started getting bigger, and it was a bottleneck to fit through the pelvic canal. So the babies are born early, which necessitates a community to raise them to the age where they can go on and have babies and prolong the species. So our whole human history is based on, the idea that it takes a band of hunter-gatherers to raise a child. And I think we all have that instinct, and there's debate whether it's instinct or learned or both. But, people are yearning for community wherever you go. And capitalism really wants to destroy community. So that's, we have this huge tension in our lives. And I try and address this on the records, and theatre and humour, which, Chumbawamba used a lot, is a great way of trying to do that.
Tell a story that's older than all of our other stories,
Going all the way back to our Homo erectus roots.
of a problem-solving mammal tasked with bringing a baby, a big bigger brain baby born earlier. So our helpless human baby, entirely reliant on the goodwill of others.
To be sure, she evolved charm and a motorbike loud cry.
Irresistibly compelling, bringing together mothers and others
Into a socially minded
community of caregivers. So we hug each other when we laugh and we hold each other when we cry. From the day we're born till the day we die, we all need some of each other to survive. 'Cause we've always needed each other to survive. Fast forward to a bizarro parallel universe of the 21st century,
where Rockefeller rugged individualism allegedly reigns supreme.
based on a mistaken and discredited view of our human nature, that what's good for a billionaire must be good for us all. Like someone who never changed a nappy or never read Dr. Seuss
Would know anything about bringing a baby or even have the slightest clue
regarding the yearning for community that guides the most of the rest of us in shared child-rearing adventures that bring out our best selves. So we hug each other when we laugh and we hold each other when we cry. From the day we're born till the day we die, we all need some of each other to survive. 'Cause we've always needed each other to survive. So remember where we came from and who helped us get where we are.
wasn't arrogant CEOs or psycho reality TV stars.
It was mothers, sisters, aunts, brothers, neighbors, teachers, mentors, peers, dads, grandmothers, friends, and countless others. Given clean air, water, food on the table, and a roof over our heads.
We like music and dancing and stories and loving who we want to love best.
We got science that measures connection by shared DNA and atmosphere as a rising global community that could save the species. So we hug each other when we laugh and we hold each other when we cry. From the day we're born till the day we die, we all need some of each other to survive emotionally. 'Cause we've always needed each other to survive physically. We all need some of each other to survive scientifically. 'Cause we've always needed each other to survive unashamedly, quite literally, and now more than ever.
You mentioned something at the end there, and I don't think there's really a dark side to community, but you mentioned something that, like, in my notes, I had something about of those social connections some of the people, we have them here in Canada, but like they're very mega-ish. And I kind of want to be empathetic, but I don't want to give them too much. But we're all looking for that social connection. Humans do
Yeah,
it.
yeah, and I
Um,
think you're right. You know, the
like
MAGA
mega
crowd.
provides that for some
Yeah,
people. And that's
yeah,
sometimes why I think people who are otherwise really intelligent will kind of fall for that. Like they
yeah,
it gives them that community. And
yeah. So I think you're right. I think there is a dark side, if you like, that the history of human cultures since the invention of agriculture, at least, you know, group identity became very important. And I guess as technology improved and the weapons of war or violence, when there's a stress, it can descend into violence. It is a danger, but it's also the way forward.
yeah,
A global community, if you like, is what I aspire to. Whereas the sort of maggot type authoritarian community is very inward looking. But I think it comes from the same instinct, and it just gets distorted by,
yeah,
you know, people leadership really who are just cynically manipulating that instinct to serve their political goals. It's the
yeah,
thing, like it's that I think the basic thing, like, like in America, there's this demand for Medicare for all, and
mhm,
it comes from the progressive and the left, and it includes MAGA. If we get Medicare for all, you get it. But
yeah,
MAGA is, well, we want this, and we don't want these other groups to have it. And that's the
yeah,
basic distortion, I think.
yeah. So it's
Yeah.
almost it's like they want community, but it's a limited community.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's you mentioned cynicism there, and I look at the work you're doing now, like it's the same from 40 years ago. You're still singing about, I see the themes as ways to improve life for the community again. Like you've
Yeah.
always been positive that way, and we see things get better. We see things slide back, and you've got like 40 plus years of watching that. How do you keep cranking out great music on these themes when it seems like Miss America is a great album. You hit the themes really well. You I don't know whether you really did, but I was doing research for a paper. I'm back in school, and I wanted to use entrapocracy in there. You
Yeah.
invented that word,
Yeah.
according to the and so I had to use cite you as a source when I was
Oh,
using that in a paper. Um,
oh.
but
And now, for your final word, Surian, to go through to the final. Your word is entrapocracy.
Could I have the definition, please?
Entrapocracy, a system of governance by stealth, whereby the governed are locked into an ongoing struggle to make ends meet, and are thus effectively entrapped into working against their own best interests. E.g., Annabelle argued that big fossil fuel operates as an entrapocracy because in enforcing its monopoly on how the planet is powered, it coerces pretty much everyone else, and often very much against their own will, into roles that are contributing to the destruction of the Earth's life support systems.
Could I have the language of origin, please?
A combination of Middle French entrap and a corruption of the Greek demokratia.
ENTRAPOCRACY. Intrapocracy.
Absolutely right. Surian, you are through to the final.
You still do all this great work, but how do you not become cynical and just go,
That is a
fuck
good
it?
question. Because when I play, I'm usually the oldest person in the room. So I tell stories about early Chumbawamba, and we formed we were in England, so it was Margaret Thatcher, but Ronald Reagan, and it was the start of what we are now living through. But at the time, we're like, this is as bad as it can possibly get, surely,
Yeah.
and it's just got worse and worse. And particularly, when I moved to the US, Obama had it was just the end of George W. Bush, which we thought surely can't get any worse than that. And then Obama comes in and just treads water. And, I was writing essays. I had some online essays published, criticizing the military industrial complex or big oil, because the climate catastrophe then was evident.
Yeah.
We were starting to get these severe weather events in the early 2000s, and the Obama administration were trying but not really getting anywhere and being frustrated by the Republicans as well, but also being bought off by big oil,
Mm-hmm.
which is what they do. They buy off enough Democrats so that nothing ever gets done. And then, of course, Trump gets elected, and I just couldn't. I was doing an album, the Stardust to Darwin Stuff album, and we were supposed to be done recording in October 2016. And we went over into November, and the election happens, and Trump gets elected, and I'm like, I got to put something on the record about this. So I rewrote the lyrics to an older song and put that on there, and then I just couldn't not comment through art on what's been happening ever since. The basic slide into fascism now in America. I mean, it's insane.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I thought, well, I've been training for this all my life.
Yeah.
The whole history of being in Chumbawamba and being part of an activist community, it means I can't ignore it. And it's a skill, a lane, I guess, that I have that I feel I should be trying to use for good, for the greater good.
This brings up something. I went to see Billy Bragg about a month ago, and in his set, he was talking about everyone knows him, old folk singer. This machine
Woody
kills
Guthrie.
fire. Woody Guthrie, yes,
Yeah.
just slipped my mind. But he was talking about the this machine kills fascists
Hmm.
on the guitar, and then he said, "You know what? I hate to tell you, but that guitar never killed any fascists. It's you people out there taking the message and moving on with it that would and maybe joining a union, changing things through
Yeah.
that or and at first when he was saying that, I was like, I took it wrong. I thought that he's saying art doesn't make the change or doesn't change anything. But I went home and I thought about it. No, he's saying art might inspire the change, but we make the change. And so I'm hearing from you something on that theme again, because you had to get out there, make your art, make your music to say this with the hope that someone would listen to it, someone would see it and go, yeah, something's got to be done. And like I've played in punk bands, but I'm coming at this also as a journalist. And I've written for newspapers and I did do articles that got some DEI legislation into local government and things like
Yeah.
that. And I had a point to this. I'm
Yeah.
going somewhere with it. Yeah, when you're saying about feeling that need to write about it, you just feel compelled to do it. You're probably not thinking just because I'm going to write this song, it's going to fix everything. But I guess I'll ask it like that. When you write those songs because you have to get them out, um,
Yeah.
what does it do for you and as the artist involved?
Yeah. So, I like I said, I stumbled into punk rock really as a teenager, and the magic of it was, performing in front of people. I was so shy as a teenager; it just unlocked something in me. And you don't need punk rock or politics to experience that feeling, that euphoria of playing in front of people and the getting a response, and the audience are as much part of it as the performer. It's the same in theatre. Like scientists have like put monitors on the audience members in theatre, and everybody's heartbeat syncs together
Mhm.
in the performance if people are engaged. So that is, the thing that I found I could do. But the political side of it, is another level, and I have doubts about it whether it's having any positive effect on people. And it was the same with Chumbawamba. We only, we'd play a show and have a great time, and people would have a great time. But then occasionally we'd get a letter off somebody who was really inspired beyond, just having a good time dancing at a gig. It touched something, and you can't really measure that. And the shows I play now are very small. They're just in pubs and small community places. But you talk to people, and like talking to you now, and which is uh, very, for me, I got that feeling when you mentioned earlier on that you'd listen to my albums post Chumbawamba, because most podcasts I do, and I don't mind really, but the people just want to talk about Chumbawamba and not what I've been doing since. So it's good for me that people are actually hearing what I'm doing. I don't know how many people or whether that matters if it's, but yeah, it's just a very human thing, I think, to put things out there as a performer,
Mhm.
and whatever your, I won't say agenda. I don't really see it as an agenda. It's just I want to share these ideas about what's going on, and if people respond, then great. And probably some people don't. I don't usually get much antagonism when I play. And it's funny, in America, it's different to England. Like most pubs, they'll have a back room or an upstairs room. But when I moved here, I was playing in front of people who were eating dinner, which was very alien to me, the local venues. So it could be anybody in there, of whatever politics. And where I live, we have the whole spectrum. Teaching theatre in the high school, the students, even from the kind of Republican Christian fundamentalist end of the spectrum, are more open than their parents are, which I find, they're just not as racist, because they're people of color or whatever, or trans people, and I'm not saying they're, not antagonistic when they're in their group or whatever, but
Mhm.
we always had more problems from the parents than the students.
Now, I've seen YouTube footage of you playing maybe at protests and things too. When you're living 4 hours away from do you get the chance to do that sort of performance much out there? Or
Not really. I mean, there are protests here. They have a weekly protest, which is it's kind of a no kings thing, but it's just we have a progressive element in this community who are
Hmm.
very upset with what's going on in the country. And we had the Black Lives Matter protests, but also at that time, the police chief's wife organized Blue Lives Matter.
Okay.
So, we were on opposite sides of the street
Yeah.
and everybody knows each other. So people were crossing the street to go and talk. And there were far
Okay.
more Black Lives Matter than Blue Lives Matter protesters. And their son was in the drama class. So it was kind of interesting.
Okay.
Uh, but, and living in a small community, I mean, the police chief, he says hello to me and I say hello to him. And, I've never experienced that in a city. In a city, we always, when the Chumbawamba house got raided by the cops, and then one of the cops recognized us walking down the street and
Mhm.
just on a whim took us and strip searched us and blah blah blah. But so yeah, but there's not really. I mean, there was a Canadian company actually wanted to start. There's copper in the Cascade Mountains,
Okay.
and they wanted to reopen some old mines and explore the possibilities. And it was above the main watershed of the
Okay.
60-mile valley. There's three towns, and you look at where any copper mine has been, and when when people make sci-fi films and they're looking for an alien landscape, they go to a copper
Yeah.
mine. I want to say 98% of the community were against it because there's just
Okay.
one road. The trucks would have been going down, the river would have been polluted. So there was like some benefits for that, and not really protests, but there is an element here that wants to preserve, the natural kind of beauty,
So is it a
environment.
small mountain town that you're in, or
Yeah,
so?
there's a couple of towns either side, 10 miles down the road, 10 miles up the road, and a smaller
Okay.
little hamlet. So they say there's 6,000 people in the valley, the 60-mile valley. And then we get a lot of tourism and in winter skiing, cross country skiing. So that's kind of the main, used to be sawmills and whatnot, but it's kind
Okay.
of reinvented itself.
So interesting. Size wise, you've seemed to end up in a place roughly like the place I've spent my whole life in, but we're surrounded by agriculture. And it's not really a touristy place, but
Yeah,
it's small town. The culture is probably very much the same. Like it's a conservative Christian area.
yeah,
So yeah, when you're talking about where you are, and yes, we get snowed in the winter here. It's like
yeah,
you've mentioned that. So it sounds very similar in a lot of ways. The size, the culture. Yeah, so I can relate when I hear you talking about the town. I can look out the window and picture roughly
yeah.
what that's interesting where you've ended up to me.
Oh, yeah, yeah. It's kind of a tangent, really. I've been here almost 19 years now, so I think I'm pretty, and I travel, so, but I do like to have somewhere to come back to and, a
Yeah.
base.
A big point on the last album. You start off it with fun changes, and I'm starting university in the fall and for philosophy. But one of the themes that I think about, you touched on very succinctly. It's just I mean, it's pretty obvious that nothing will fundamentally change unless, you know, something
Yeah,
fundamentally changes.
coming, fun change is coming, whether we like it or not. Nobody knows which grass will grow and which cracks we get baked into the straw that breaks the oligarchs' backs. The change is coming, fun change is coming, coming, ready or not. So something, because something, because something, so something will fundamentally change, because something is fundamentally changing. Something will fundamentally change, because something is fundamentally changing. Feel the heat from the blowback, from the wreckage of the saboteur social contract. This 5 decades long class war from above is running at a road to ride over roughshod. It'll probably get worse before it gets any better. Whatever makes it better is out there already, living, breathing, evolving as we speak, and we will know it when it comes within reach. We'll be out there voting with our feet out in the streets. Getting so hot, getting so hot, getting too hot, too hot. Change is coming, fun change is coming, whether we like it or not. Nobody knows which grass will grow and which cracks will get baked into the straw that breaks the oligarchs' backs. Change is coming, fun change is coming, coming, ready or not.
Because we're going in the wrong direction right now.
Oh yeah, and I think we're, you know, you look at history and people map these cycles of 70 or 80 years, and it does feel like we are within the next few years, really, we will hit some kind of tipping point politically, and whether that's triggered by, which you know is highly likely, just even more intense climate events, which you know the scientists have predicted, and we're heading down that path.
Mhm.
Or you know there'll be some kind of movement from below here against the kind of authoritarianism. But I do think, you know, there's no way, the way that capitalism is gobbling up resources. I mean, the AI data centers things just
Oh,
seem to come
yeah,
out of nowhere, and it's like
yeah,
the total opposite. The amount of energy and water they consume, when you know we need to be using less carbon energy and conserving water, it's the exact opposite of what needs to happen.
yeah, yeah,
Uh, and why are they doing it? Just so they can store more data and surveil us even more than they're doing already.
yeah,
It's just bonkers. So I think we're going to see some shifts, you know, in the next 5-10 years, but it might get a lot worse before it
yeah.
gets any.
And then we always talk about pendulum shifts.
Yeah,
Uh, and that was one of the themes on the Mesmerica album that really caught me, was with the environment being damaged the way it is. It kind
yeah.
of, if we swing back politically, it may not matter because
It may not
we
matter.
don't
No.
have a fucking planet to live on. There's no planet B. It's like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
quite the world we're
You
living
know,
in.
yeah, I'm still an optimist, really.
Yeah. Okay.
The human collective community spirit can turn it around, but we
Yeah.
are in a critical stage, definitely.
Is there anything else going on in your life that you want to talk to people about? Get out there, or
Yeah, I mean, it's just more of the same, really. I'm on to. I've been, I'm heading off to the East Coast and then Canada, and then I'm going to England. My parents are still alive, so I've been going there more. And whilst I'm there, this place in London called Mayday Rooms have set up. It was initially going to be a Chumbawamba archive, but it's become more of
okay.
an arco punk archive. So I'll be there. I have some materials. I'm going to bring them, and I think they're going to host me to play there. And yeah, and then in October, going into November, I have a 3-week tour around the West,
Okay.
and it's ahead of the midterm elections, and all the signs are that the Trump administration are going to either rig the elections or have ICE troops at the election stations, and they're trying to create this narrative which has descended in the past week into like a red scare.
Yeah.
Oh, Mamdani is a communist, so these are evil people, and we got to bring in all these emergency measures to shut them down. So it's going to be very interesting, I think. I don't think all the things I've lived through, I don't think I've had a sense of, okay, this is like really, really dangerous, this period we're going into. So yeah, I'm kind of following that.
Okay.
uh,
Yeah. I think we all are. We're
yeah,
outside the country. We're still, because yeah, it's really affecting relationships between Canada
yeah,
and
oh
the
yeah, I
US.
mean,
It's weird. It's hard to be unpatriotic Canadian
yeah, no, I
all of
was
a
there.
sudden.
I was there about a year ago, I think. So yeah, we were in the early days of Trump 2.0, and I was just talking to people in Ontario, and they're like, "Yeah, we usually go to the US once or twice a year, but we're not going to
Yeah.
go. We don't want to go. Why would we want to go?"
Yeah, that's
Uh,
exactly
and
what.
I totally agree. You know, I can see it.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
we just opened the new Gordie Howe Bridge,
Oh, I saw
and
that yesterday.
we're
Yeah.
all like, well, I'd like to go. Detroit's a great city.
Yeah.
There's a lot of culture there. There's some really cool things there, but I don't want to cross that bridge. I just,
No.
that's a bridge too
No. I
far.
mean,
That's,
here as well, it's decimated the tourist industry. You know
yeah,
what they're doing, but yeah, it's just so counterproductive.
yeah.
But
Well, anyways, it's been awesome to talk to you, and yeah, have a great tour.
okay, brilliant.
Long one.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
brilliant.
So,
Thanks, Colin. I totally appreciate it, and I love that you go in a bit deeper than a lot of the other people.
okay.
So yeah, respect to that.
Thank you. And I'm glad you were willing to go deeper.
Yeah.
So,
Go. 2, 3, 4.
It's getting worse. Buckle up. Bad Clown Creepy and his goons are running amok. It's getting worse. Make it stop. It's not funny anymore. It never was. It's getting worse. Mandate my ass, do the math. It's a gerrymandered power grab. It's getting worse. Mass manufactured emergencies as a means of unleashing emergency powers. Woke up this morning to find that me and my mates have been designated terrorists for having the nerve to sing and shout about it. This super capitalistic fascist politics. It's getting worse. The glass has long since worn off. The American dream denied to most of us. It's getting worse. They pay paradise to build their market fundamentalist mega church. It's getting worse. Rammed down our throats, long capital ovid, choking us. It's getting worse. This dark money universe makes collateral damage out of most of us. Woke up this morning to find that me and my pals have been designated terrorists for having the nerve to sing and shout about it. This super capitalistic fascist politics. Yeah, about that super capitalistic fascist politics, where the freedom to sell automatic weapons trumps the freedom not to be shot by them, where the freedom to dump forever chemicals trashes the freedom not to breathe them in, where the freedom to deny the greenhouse effect cancels 99% of climate science, where this economic freedom Uber Alice is that idiot plan to rule a burning planet. But a spring can only be coiled so tight. The pendulum can only swing so far to the right. It's getting worse before it gets better. Real light at the end of our tether. What the heck? All hands on deck. Come all ye of little faith, come all ye radical left lunatics. We're all Antifa now. What the heck? All hands on deck. We are Portland frogs. We are Palestine action. We're all Antifa now. We're all Antifa now. We're all Antifa now. We'll be singing. We get knocked down, we get up again. You're never gonna keep us down. We get knocked down, we get up again. You're never gonna keep us down. We get knocked down, we get up again. You're never gonna keep us down. We get knocked down, we get up again. You're never gonna keep us down.
Earlier, in the middle of our discussion, I played Smells Like Anthropocracy and Fun Changes. Then I ended off our discussion by playing We're All Antifa Now. For the last word on the show, that'll be going to my beautiful and wonderful wife, because I'm playing a cover my band did which actually on this it was just me and my wife, of Chumbawambas on the day the Nazi died. Thanks for listening. Thanks again to Danbert for the interview. Visit woodstein.ca. That's WOOD-STEIN.ca. You can support this podcast by becoming a patron at patreon.com/Colin Burrows, and like, share, comment, follow, and support Woodstein Media and this podcast. And my zines, which you can get through Microcosm Publishing. Thanks, and have a wonderful day.
We're told that after the war the Nazis vanished without a trace, but battalions of fascists still dream of a master race. The history books will tell of the defeat of 45, but they all came out of the woodwork on the day the Nazi died. They say the prisoner at Spandau was a symbol of defeat, whilst Hest remained imprisoned and the fascists they were beat. So the promise of an Aryan world would never materialize. So why did they all come out of the woodwork on the day the Nazi died? The world is riddled with maggots. The maggots are getting fat. They're making a tasty meal of all the bosses and bureaucrats. They're taking over the boardrooms and they're fat and full of pride. And they all came out of the woodwork on the day the Nazi died. So if you meet with these historians, I'll tell you what to say. Tell them that the Nazis never really went away. They're out there burning houses down and peddling racist lies. And we'll never rest again until every Nazi dies.